Steve Rogers, a retired New Jersey lieutenant detective, joins us now on set with more thoughts on this event, how to prevent it, but also where the investigation starts now. Steve, today, what is law enforcement focused on?
Well, they're going to focus on how did he get the weapons, where did they come from? That's very important. But you know, what's really important is this motive. They're talking about possible hate crime, that he allegedly asked people what their religion are, and motive's very important. Because once they get the motive, they could kind of look into this guy's mind and hope that there's no one else who's going to go down that path, and that worries law enforcement.
Are you concerned about copycats because of something like that?
Well, yes. I mean, look, these people are making news all over the place. Even the President of the United States, who, by the way, I think made a major error in judgment last night coming out speaking about this before they got the facts. But, yep, that could add fuel to copycats.
Yeah, I have to ask this. It's a time for self-reflection for everyone, but the sheriff mentioned, I'm not going to mention the shooter's name. Is media part of the issue? We want to cover the news. We have to cover the news. But for these sorts of mass shootings, should we rethink that?
It's a double-edged sword, all right? By releasing the guy's name, you never know who's out there that's going to have information on this individual that'll lead to maybe more arrests, that'll lead to key pieces of information in an investigation. It's a double-edged sword, but the media has a job to do. You're doing it well on Fox. I've been following you guys.
We appreciate it.
And you've been very, very accurate.
We do want to be careful with the names and glorifying something too much. We do want to focus on solutions, though, as well. And it was interesting. This caught our attention in the New York Times. The New York Times was quoting a former school president for the community college who recently retired as saying this about armed security guards on campus. He said, we talked about that over the last year, but because we were concerned about safety on campus. The campus was split 50-50. We thought we were a very safe campus, and having armed security officers on campus might change the culture. He went on to say, if you want to come on the campus and you want to shoot 5 people, you're going to do that before our security would arrive. What do you think of that sentiment?
Look, a couple issues here. One is we should have armed security guards on these campuses. We're living in extraordinary times, and it's going to take extraordinary measures to protect us. But more importantly, we talk. When I say we, our leaders in government, our political establishment. Part of the solution, I believe, is a draft. And I'm not talking about a military draft. I'm talking about a Citizens in Service to America draft program requiring 18 to 25-year-olds, requiring them, Jen, to do some sort of service that will be significant for this country. Why? Because, like the military, you're going to have psychological evaluation. Boy, could you get 18, 19-year-old that might have a problem, you get them early, you get them into intervention, and you're putting people to work at a young age. You're putting them in a structured environment. And you know what? You're going to get some of those gang members off the streets. If they don't sign up for this, they go to jail. That's what has to be done.
Well, certainly there's going to be folks that think that's really controversial and maybe not the place of government. But interesting that you mentioned that. It parallels a little bit to the Israel model, because in Israel, you have to serve the military, so you do get a certain amount of weapons training and a certain amount of oversight as a young person before you really enter your next stage of college or wherever you're going to go after that. So you would advocate for that because of the oversight, because of the mental illness part in this?
Well, the whole works. Look, the mental illness part, we have to address that, and that's a good way for early intervention. As a police officer, I could look at somebody and deal with somebody for years who you know has a mental problem. Nothing I can do to get them to help, all right, short of a court order, and you've got to arrest them for that. But you're looking at the mental health issue and get them in an environment where they're going to do something constructive, where their character is going to be built, and maybe, just maybe, you know what, you live in a great country, why don't you contribute to it?
Really quick final question. In Israel, in order to get a gun after military service, you have to bring a doctor's note. It's still very difficult. Do you think that should be part of regulation for buying a weapon legally, that you have to bring some sort of a doctor's note to show that you're mentally healthy?
Yes, I'm in favor of reasonable guidelines. I'm against gun control per se, where anyone could get a gun. But reasonable guidelines are important, because when I'm walking in a mall, look, I do what a lot of people do. I look around and I wonder, should I have my weapon with me? Trained people know what to do when the time comes to eliminate somebody who's out to kill somebody.
Interesting, Steve. We're going to get to more on the president's comments a little later on in the program, but we appreciate your insight as always. Thank you.
You're welcome.
John?